Okay, so I am Diane Barrett. I'm here with Margaret Elfring and Bonnie Giebfried. We're here today discussing on August 1st, 2022, our responses to the Roe v. Wade recent decision of the Supreme Court. So Bonnie, we'd like to hear from you.
Roe versus Wade. In 1973, a woman stood up for her rights as an individual so she could make the correct decision for herself. And of course, as we know, as time went on, it became law. Unfortunately, we had the overturn of Roe versus Wade, which is a very scary thought. In a country that has a constitution, a Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, so on and so forth, which federally protect us in unity. This has absolutely smashed the rights of women to make a choice, a healthy choice for themselves. Unfortunately, Roe versus Wade was never codified, which means it would have been a federal law and we wouldn't be having this discussion now. Politicians had the rights to sit and codify this many, many times through the years in the last 50 years, but have not. So it's now going to be turned over to states on an individual basis to make decisions for women, which is sad in and of itself, because when Roe versus Wade was ratified, it was men making the decision. It wasn't a woman who had input into the decisions that were being made. So, being a man, you don't know the importance of reproductive rights for women. And this also takes away a woman's right to have a capacity and an influence and a participating part as an equal member in our society, which is one of the inalienable rights of the Declaration of Independence. When you think about everything that has gone on with Roe versus Wade, they had the ratification, then you had Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that shows that it's unconstitutional to not allow an individual to get an abortion if it affects her health. Again, it was never codified. Now we're in the state we are. So states are making laws that they think are correct, right, for an individual who has the right to privacy, and dealing with their doctors has patients' privacy, which is now being infringed on. The 14th Amendment gives the women's right to privacy, which supersedes the state's rights to ban abortion. That's a big thing, because it is written in the 14th Amendment that women have the right to privacy, to do what they need to do for their health. And that right supersedes the states to ban abortion. Now we're in a position where the states are banning abortion. And there is no cohesiveness at all when it comes to governing or having an amendment or a bill or a law put out there if it's not federally protected. So at this point, it has left women to look other places because states are banning abortions, which is creating inequalities financially with access to get an abortion. Women of color or women who are not in good financial standing are just forced to deal with situations now, basically saying, well, you're pregnant, you're going to have the kid, which creates a whole nother dynamic of staying poor, not pursuing what you wanted to pursue. And there is no onus on the male. It takes two to tango. It takes two to make a baby. So there is nothing that's being put out there to have the man responsible for the actions of what happened. Let's look at someone who's raped. You're telling us at this point as a woman, if you're raped, tough luck. You're going to have to sit and deal with it. You're going to have to raise the baby mentally, emotionally, and physically. That's going to wreck someone. It's going to show up in your body as illnesses. You're not going to be a happy camper. And not everybody has support to help raise a child. There was a study by Diana Green Foster. It's called the Turnaway Study, with individuals who were turned away after the gestation limitation, which is 20 weeks. And they had to go to term with the pregnancy and the aftermath of what happened because they weren't able to have the abortion. It's sad to think in this time, we're in 2022, that this is barbaric, archaic, and there are forms of documents that already protect an individual's right to make a choice, especially when it comes to their health. There are a lot of women who aren't able to go to term with the baby because it puts them in jeopardy. You have children as young as age 10 that are going to be forced, after being raped, to have a baby. A child having a child, what type of life is that child going to have? So when you think about a lot of things, it puts a lot of onus now on our doctors. Our doctors took a Hippocratic oath to treat the ill and to keep a patient's privacy undercover, private, not to go out there. And that's not going to be honored, especially with Roe versus Wade being overturned. Gynecologists now are put into a dilemma. Are they going to go to jail? What type of decision are they going to make? What is the intricacies of what is a live fetus and what isn't a live fetus? What constitutes a life? Right now, somewhere in the Midwest, there's a group of gynecologists that, are getting together and trying to get assistance with clear guidelines. There are no clear guidelines out there in regards to what's going to happen if someone does need, quote unquote, an abortion. There are no clear guidelines except threats. You're going to jail if you perform the abortion in a state that has the abortion ban. Some states now have laws on the books that someone, your neighbor, a friend, can report you if you're going to go for abortion, or they think you're going to go for abortion, or if you're pregnant. That is an insane concept. We as a society have failed not only women, but the downtrodden, those who don't have proper medical care, those who don't have proper nutrition, so on and so forth. It has to stop. It has to stop, because you're having individuals have a quandary, especially professional individuals having a quandary. Now, their decision as a professional who went to how many years of school, residency, and so on and so forth, they're being told your thought process and your expertise doesn't matter. This is what's happening. Nobody's going to get an abortion. No way, no how. Especially, like I said, in the states that have made the abortion banned. You're also putting your first responders and those who serve you in the public in a position. Because as first responders, we do take care of individuals' health. And what happens if a woman goes into crisis and she's newly pregnant? Are we supposed to treat her as a whole? Treat her as the fetus has more rights than her? It really brings up an ethical quandary. And this process really was not thought out. It was a spiteful maneuver. I should say, I believe it's a spiteful maneuver. I think we're going backwards as a society. You know, as women, we didn't have rights years and years and back, and suffragettes, you know, came up there, and the advocates through the years came up and helped us get the rights that we have today. America, land of the free. No, we're under a dictatorship. It's sad. I mean, I keep on saying it's sad, but it's just, it's not right. I know someone recently who had to get an abortion because had she not, she would have died. She would have stroked out. And had it been this week where she lives, the abortion ban is in effect, and she would have died. Would the baby live or the fetus live? Probably not. But she would have died. And that's something that really needs to be impressed upon individuals. If this was your daughter, your mother, your aunt, your cousin, would you want them to have the best care and to make the best decision for themselves, or possibly die or be handicapped the rest of their life because they went through with a pregnancy that had it been aborted, they would have had a clear bill of health or close to a clear bill of health. And it would have been sad about the abortion. But the thing is, you have to truly honor the person for who they are, where they're at, their health perspective, their doctors. This is between a woman and their doctor, nobody else. Because as individuals, we have a right to have our own thoughts, decisions, and freedoms in our life to make the best life that we can have. And that's pretty much where I stand at this point.
Thank you. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Yeah,